Hello? Officer down, Bluefield Road.
We heard the sirens all night going by our house, and I thought they must have had a bad car wreck out on the bluegrass.
Ma'am, can you advise the status of the officer? Is he conscious?
I believe he's dead.
I remember it like it was yesterday. Most people involved will tell you probably the same thing. It was an awful morning.
Oh my God, are they coming?
It was almost like unbelievable, and you was hoping that that wasn't true.
And there was the police car is sitting in the middle of the road with the lights on, and we didn't know what it was. It's a tree across the road, and I didn't know what it was, and I got out and I went up there and looked, and it's him. I believe somebody hit him.
And I just kept thinking, maybe he's just hurt badly. Maybe they're not telling me everything. There's still that hope.
Okay, can you tell if he is breathing?
No, sir, he is not breathing. Body temperature is cold.
And then everybody's thoughts went, who would do that, and why? Because there was just no reasoning at all.
It was a homicide. Someone took this officer's life.
It's been a year since the community of Bardstown suffered an unimaginable loss.
It's not something that I had ever been a part of from a perspective of a murder investigation.
We still have a cop killer on the street a year later.
33-year-old Jason Ellis shot multiple times on his way home from work on the morning of May 25th, not long before he made his final call to dispatch.
139, fine.
139 off duty, 0200.
As he drove home, Ellis stopped to clear debris from the road on exit ramp 34 on the Bluegrass Parkway, which is now covered in American flags and a cross. The fallen officer's police number can be seen across the front. His photo remains in local Bardstown businesses.
As long as there's a breath and life in me, he'll be remembered here.
And Highview Cemetery, where hundreds of officers paid their respects and honored Ellis. And in a heartbreaking moment, his canine, Figo, touched his casket, now sits silent. Ellis's headstone decorated with the handprints of his two sons and the sport of baseball, which he loved so much. Following his death, his wife Amy spoke about his love for his job and called him her hero.
He was a dedicated family man. He loved our family. He loved our boys. He loved me.
It's always difficult to work a murder investigation, but I told our guys from the beginning we'd be kidding ourselves if we said this was the same as any other, simply because you don't work the murder of a police officer, maybe once in a career, if ever.
Tips are still coming into Kentucky State Police, but not like they once were.
We're kind of at a lull in the investigation for good leads.
Lieutenant Jeremy Thompson says hundreds of people have been interviewed.
There's times when we've had someone that we felt, okay, could this person have been a suspect?
Still no arrest, and the remaining question of who would do this and why. The loss has taken a toll on the community and fellow officers.
It takes a little bit of you away mentally. I would be lying if I said it didn't, but it does.
But KSP and the FBI refuse to give up hope.
Do you consider this a cold case at this point?
Absolutely not. This investigation, I've been with the state police almost 17 years, and it's unprecedented in my involvement in a case of this size. We have one full-time investigator. That's all he does is work on this particular case. I've never seen that happen.
The chances always are, less as time goes on in any kind of a case like this. But really, it's the piece of information that I know someone must have that if they would come forward, we would be able to solve this case.
Shell casings from a 12-gauge shotgun were found at the scene that day. Officer Ellis's weapon was still in his holster. With little evidence left behind and no witnesses that police know of when the shooting happened, there remains more questions than answers in this case. There's even the question of who was really the target.
We've never been able to definitively say that Jason was the target. Now, we believe with a high certainty that it was a police officer that was a target, but I can't tell you today that Jason Ellis was the target of this murder.
Ellis's death not only hits home locally, but also on a national scale. He was recently honored in Washington, D.C. during National Police Week. His name has been added to the National Law Enforcement Memorial. Locally, as police continue to try to track down his killer.
And there is no closure for the family or the community.
For now, there's a feeling of uncertainty that remains in the community of Bardstown as people continue to hold out hope.
When an officer dies, it's regardless of where he's from, it's part of your brotherhood.
That one day, someone will come forward and the question of who killed Officer Jason Ellis will finally be solved.
Ultimately, that's what will solve this. Someone in the public being courageous, whether it be for reward money, which is substantial, or whether it be just wanting to do the right thing and their conscience gets the best of them. That's how this case will be solved.
And it happened on my watch, and I went full circle. I want to be here the day that person's arrested.